Hello everybody, Andy here again. The other day I was looking at the BBC News website, which happens to be my home page, and there was a story on there about the compact disc. Now apparently the compact disc, the good old CD, has reached the ripe old age of 25 years old. It's actually the CD's 25th birthday this year. In fact, it was last week, and I do remember the CDs coming out all those years ago, and how you should be able to play them and spread jam on them and they'd be alright, and you could put them in the CD player and they'd still play. Apparently that works. It's not something that I've ever tried myself, but it got me thinking about all these other sort of types of media that we've used in the past. And of course the first one that I came across was the good old vinyl. Now for people who haven't seen vinyl, and I'm sure there's a few of you out there, I've got a couple of examples here, so I've tripped down memory lane this week. But you know, this is a good old 7-inch single, and this particular one is actually a single that a band I used to be in, we actually made a single all those years ago. And I found a big box of vinyl underneath my bed, which I trawled through from in the attic and everything and got them in there. And I might actually go through and do a little a history, because some quite interesting ones in there. One in particular I found here. This is an old one by a band called Squeeze. I don't know if you remember. This is an early single of them. Give you some indication of what they used to be like at one time. Good old green vinyl, and I've got vinyl in loads of different colours and shapes and sizes, and loads and loads. But I do remember, actually, I do remember 78s as well. Who remembers 78s? My mother used to have some 78s all those years ago. I sort of grew up with vinyl, whether it be 7-inch singles or whether it be 12-inch albums and even 12-inch singles and all those sort of things. I know vinyl is making a bit of a comeback nowadays, because they sort of, a lot of DJs and that use it, and they release sort of special limited editions and that. But what came after that? Well, what I remember is this. Who remembers these? The good old Sony Walkman, eh? Hey, and that was, what a revolution that was. When something came out, you could put in your pocket. You had a pretty big pocket, but this particular one, put that in your pocket. A little tape. I can't find any tapes actually. I must have a tape somewhere, but I can't find anywhere. And music became portable basically. I mean, I can remember before that having sort of big tape recorders that you could record things onto and you could listen to it, but it wasn't particularly practical. This was something you could carry around with you, and what a revolution that was. And what's come since then? Well, as I said, the compact disc, the good old CD, arrived in 1982. The first one I ever bought was actually this one. I found it, I've still got it. The Police, Every Breath You Take, the singles, and that came out in about 1986. I remember the first CD player I ever bought, which happened to be a Philips one as well. For those who don't know, the CD was done in conjunction between Philips and Sony. And one thing I did find out reading the article on the news site was that I always wondered why the CD was 74 minutes long. When they first came out, like these ones, they couldn't be more than 74 minutes long. They can now, as you're probably well aware. And it was because originally they wanted an 11.5cm disc, but they wanted to fit Beethoven's Ninth Symphony onto the disc. For whatever reason, they wanted to fit it in, and it couldn't fit on there, so they had to make the disc 12 centimeters long, or big should I say, and that made that disc 74 minutes long. The first CD ever produced, apparently commercially, was Visitors by ABBA. There you go. And there was a classical one came out about the same sort of time as well, so that'll please Kurt. Anyway, Visitors by ABBA, the first ever CD that was produced commercially. They've sold over 200 billion CDs now, up to now. As you know, I mean, they get used for everything. We copy things on from computers and things like that, so they've become a real multimedia device. Apart from the audio side, we've come on from that as well. Now where do we go after that? Well, I remember these things. Do you remember these? Still get these mini discs? And they're still very good as well. I've still got mini disc players and all that sort of stuff. But now, of course, we've moved on again, haven't we? We've come on to these, you know, iPods and MP3s and all that sort of thing, and how that's changed the way that music is. And I keep going about the way that music's changed, and Prince's album, downloadable music, the MP3, a complete revolution. And we've gone from something from this size to something of this size. And this thing, could you fit on here about 45 minutes or maybe 90 minutes worth of music on this. On this one you've got, for this particular model, 4 gigabytes worth of music, and that's hours and hours and hours, tens of hours worth of music. On the visual side, I remember tapes, and I've found VHS tapes. We're talking about Sony and Philips getting together for the compact disc, but I do remember all those years ago when the video recorder came out, and what a revolution that was in itself. The big competition between Betamax, who I believe was Sony, and VHS. Now I can't remember who made them. I've got a horrible feeling it might have been Philips. Maybe that was the reason that they got together to stop that happening with the compact disc. Now we're getting it with the next one, wasn't it? We get DVDs, don't we? And that was the next step forward. I wonder what will happen after that. I know we've got the new DVD systems coming out, and there's once again is it Toshiba and someone else, Sony, once again I believe, sort of battling against each other to come up with the best system, I suppose. It's often thought that with the Betamax and the VHS that Betamax was a better system, but VHS won out. And did we lose out in that? I don't know. And with the new DVD, the next generation of DVDs, will they be much better? Will we get the wrong one again? Why do we need to change them? I don't know. But I just wanted that little trip down memory lane. I just thought I'd do that as well, very, very quickly. As I said, one day I might actually trawl through all those CDs and show some of the more interesting ones from my collection. And there's a few different strange coloured vinyls and things like that in there. Anyway, I hope this has been interesting. It's something that sort of sparked a bit of interest in me. Maybe you can dig out all those bits of old technology that you've got and share them with me. If you've got some old 78s, maybe we could go on to video cameras next, and all the different video cameras that people have had, like the old cine ones, and I've got an old high 8 sort of cassette video recorder as well, sorry, video camera, and now we're on to sort of digital ones, and you've got DVD ones and all this. Oh dear, it goes on and on and on, doesn't it? But a trip down a technological memory lane, if you will. Anyway, thanks for your time. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.